Hello, my name's Gary Schotten, and you're listening to teachings and stories that we hope will inspire better business. We're going to talk about today the subject of forgiveness. And I'm going to give a little kind of my idea of what a definition would be. It's not any Webster's or Wikipedia definition, but how I view that. Then I'm going to tell you for sure 3 stories that were a little bit ugly when they happened, and I had to forgive. And so we'll just jump right into this. Now, forgiveness, if your child spills some milk, and you can be upset for a minute, but then you forgive them, clean it up, hug them, maybe discipline a little bit, but the next day you don't hold that grudge against them. Oh, last week you spilt your milk. Oh, 2 weeks ago you spilt your milk. Oh, remember last year when you spilt your milk? Wouldn't that be foolish? Because you forgave them even though they made a mistake. Well, some people do things in our business lives, in our careers, and they affect us personally. And if we hold on to those offenses and we become offended and we continually be offended over something that happened days and weeks ago, it's really not healthy. And it's going to affect your business future. So one of the things that's going to happen is you're going to lose your drive and energy. You're going to waste time dealing with something you should have gotten over several days ago, not months ago, days ago. And there's ways to get over things. So the ability to not be offended for sure over any length of time. That's what I would say we're talking about it. Now, I think I can kind of tell you how I would judge if I am still offended. Oh, I'm not offended. Well, if I lose any sleep over it in the middle of the night, if I'm wrestling about it, thinking about it, for sure a little signal to me is if I wake up in the morning, the first thing on my mind in the morning is something that somebody did to me, somebody offended me, then I have not forgiven them. And maybe there's other ways, but that's simple ways to me. Another thing that I could judge if I'm in the presence of that person and I've been offended for whatever reason, maybe rightfully so, they did something wrong to you. You'll hear my stories. But if you're uncomfortable, avoiding them, won't meet with them, you're still offended, you haven't forgiven them. Well, here goes the stories. This is back when I had a moving and storage business. I was working hard at keeping the bills paid and hiring people. It was a tight margin business. We're moving furniture. Somebody moves from house A to house B, new location, and we would have our workers go in and pick up the furniture and move it to the new location. And I had a right-hand person that wanted to be the leader, the manager, and I was going off to develop a new book of business. In my case, it was mini storages. So I'm focusing on expanding and going into mini storages. He will run the existing business. But unbeknownst to me, he had made some bad personal deals, wasn't to do with our business, his own personal things, and he had lost a lot of money, and he decided the best thing to do was to move out of town. Well, the problem was he didn't tell me. He embezzled $15,000 from me, went down to the bank without me knowing it, cashed it. Now he has $15,000 in his hand. He hires my employees, since we're in the moving business, illegally moves him across state lines to his new house in another state. Guess what? When I found out about it on Monday morning, I was ticked. I was mad, and I had no intention of ever forgiving him for that, because that hurt. It hurt because I thought we were friends. It hurt because not only he left, but also his wife, which was working for us also, which means 2/3 of my management team. It was him, his wife, and me. So 2/3 of my management team is gone, unbeknown. This was not cool. I'll keep it short. But over time, about a year later, I heard from him, and he asked me if I would forgive him. So I told him this story. I said, you know, it took me about 6 weeks till I got over the bulk of it, and I realized all it was hurting was me. So yeah, I have forgiven you, but I have no reason to restore you to any level of friendship, particularly immediately. And you know, I have no really intention of developing a friendship, but the only way we would be friends is over time. You proved yourself to be changed. You wouldn't do that again. Never seen him again. Let me tell you story number 2. I told you a minute ago that I was wanting to develop mini storages. And so mini storages are those where you store other people's goods. It was kind of a good business to be in. It fit well with the moving and storage business. And so I had reason to contract an architect. I won't name that architect. It doesn't matter. And they had tons of knowledge, and I didn't have hardly any knowledge. So I was resting in their knowledge to guide me through this process and create the architecture so that the engineer could design it, the engineer could design it, and then we could put it out for bid and we could build these mini storages. Well, what I didn't realize is that he over-designed, he didn't have a good target, and he ran up the cost on the mini storage by making it too fancy. But what I didn't realize either, that in the contract he wrote some wording that where I'll call it the small print. The small print says, I'm thinking for his services I owe him $10,000, but the way the small print said, I owed him $40,000. Wow, that's a big difference. And the project didn't go. I had to pay for the engineering. I had to pay for soil sampling. I had to pay everyone. And then I get a bill from him for $40,000, not 10 like I thought. Well, shame on me. I should have read the fine print. But he takes me to court. He sues me. It's in the newspaper. This person against Gary is being sued for $40,000. Guess what? I wasn't happy. I didn't get very excited, and it took me a while to forgive him. But once again, I was not sleeping well. I was worrying about it. I was thinking about it. First thing I woke up in the morning and I said, you know, the only thing this is doing is hurting me. I've got to forgive him. And to this day, I've seen him many times, several times. We have some kind of a friendship. I'll walk up, shake hands, and be friends with him, but not intimate, close friends. Number 3. Just 3 months ago, I have someone that worked in our company here. He had worked here 7 years. He was in financial problems because of something his wife actually did in another totally different business. His financial problems bled over into his personal actions, and he stole $2,500 worth of my tooling and took it down to the pawn shop and pawned it for $250 is all he got. Well, fortunately we found it, we caught it, we brought him in, we discussed it. He didn't admit it. It took a while. It's another whole teaching. You know, I've learned he got hurt, but I forgave him right away. But he doesn't work here anymore. His offense cost him his job, even though I'm not holding it against him like I would something that would offend me in another way. He doesn't work here though. And he wouldn't work here again unless we had some confidence that he had changed. So those are 3 examples of me having to forgive people. In the process of time, I'm getting a little older. And in the process of time, I would advise anyone, anywhere, to don't hold on to offenses. Get over it. Go on with life. Forget about it. Don't necessarily reestablish this person in your life as your best buddy, your closest friends, but over time you can do that, but certainly interact with them. Don't feel that you're going to get over this if you're continuing gnawing and being concerned about it. And like I said to begin with, one of the big reasons is you are spending mental effort, mental energy. You're wasting part of your life. Every day you're wasting minutes and hours because this is gnawing on you. It's not worth it. It's like you paid once for the lesson, and now you're paying it over and over again. It's over. Forget about it. Go on. It is not going to benefit you to hold that offense. Well, I hope this helps. It's not one of those cheery, happy kind of lessons, but I hope it helps you. We're here to inspire better business. We hope this inspires you to think through processes, especially in this case, business owners or key managers. You have a way of making it through this with a success, but you're not going to make it if you're holding an offense. You got to be willing to forgive.